Stay tuned for today's episode of Breaking the Biz, an informative podcast where we dive into the world of entertainment by interviewing seasoned professionals who have made their mark in the industry. Gain invaluable insights as they share their personal journeys, offering advice on navigating the dynamic landscape of the entertainment industry. Whether you're an aspiring actor, musician, filmmaker, author, animator, or any creative soul, tune in for expert career guidance, insider tips, and first-hand accounts on breaking into the entertainment industry. Get ready to unlock the secrets behind successful careers and fuel your own passion for the limelight. Please remember to like this video and to subscribe to our channels for more great conversations.
Greetings from Breaking the Biz, brought to you by Yes I Can Unity Through Music and Education. I'm William Felber, your navigator through the intriguing universe of the entertainment industry, as revealed by the visionaries and creators who bring it to life. Stay tuned as we delve into diverse insights from the forefront of entertainment, hearing from pioneers, creators, and agents of change. Prepare for a journey filled with tales of innovation, resilience, and the undying quest for artistic brilliance.
Welcome to Breaking the Biz podcast. We have got a great guest with us. We have Jazzy Frizzle, who is a voice actor and also the co-founder of Voices of Color, voiceovertakeover.com. She brings life into your products, character stories through voice. She's had voiceover training in ADR, commercial, animation, and video games. Her experience includes podcasts, commercials, animation, mobile games, and audiobooks. You can head over to her website to listen to her demo reels, samples of previous work, and you can see her training experience and her home studio. We'll get into all of those pieces and at the home studio for sure. But I want to ask first, when you were a little girl, what was the dream job? Everyone always has I want to be a this when I grow up. What was that for you?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Let's go over the list. A princess, dinosaur, dabbling in astronauting, maybe one day, but changed our mind on that. Those are probably the big ones.
And those are some great ones. Astronaut, I always thought, I'll be an astronaut. And then I remember the first ship crashing as a little kid going, yeah, maybe I won't go to space. That's maybe not the safest job possible. So you had a good list there, but voiceover artist was not one.
Definitely not one of them. No, not at all. I actually was a big, I've always loved acting. I was a big theater and choir kid growing up. I did the whole shtick, the whole nine. I was on all the plays and things. But it was just, voiceover fell into my lap because I never wanted the fame that comes with an on-camera person, because I like grocery shopping in peace. I like being out in public and people not knowing who I am, and so it was obviously voiceover.
It's funny you mention that, because we talk about a lot of the musical artist and things you can do behind the scenes, and there's this Bonnie McKeefe is her name, and she writes a lot of songs for a lot of artists, but she happened to write 5 or 6 for Katy Perry, and they're mega hits, and she's making good money off of writing those songs. But like I mentioned, she can go into a restaurant, order any steak she wants, go anywhere, and not have to do the autographs and not have to be the celebrity. So for you knew right away, even though you were a theater actor, you didn't really want that recognition.
Exactly. I was like, I love acting. I don't like the stuff that comes with acting.
Absolutely.
That's a price I'm not willing to pay.
and that makes total sense. So talk me through, you did theater in high school, I'm gathering. What did you do? You mentioned how voiceover kind of fell into your lap. Talk me through how voiceover fell into your lap.
So voiceover was one of those things that I didn't realize it was a job until one day it just hit me in the face. Oh my gosh, somebody voiced that commercial. Oh my gosh, I know I'm obsessed with animation and all these movies. somebody voice these. It was one of those things that I never really thought about. And I was, at the time I was working at a hospital. I was doing case management at a hospital. I was part of an improv group here in Colorado. I'm located in Colorado. And I was part of an improv group here. And I was just like, this is amazing. And I get to do this from home. I could do it from home. That's the best part about it. And so that's really what it was. And so I just started like doing my research of like, all right, what do I got to do this?
Okay. So high school is theater. When did you do college, or did you find
No. This is my personal philosophy.
and it's
I
not
did it.
for everyone, so
It's not
go
for
ahead.
everybody at all. And for myself, if I were to go to college, it would have been for like, theater or something in the arts. And I couldn't let myself justify having to take a math class for a theater major. And I was like, you're not going to pay for that, so don't do that. So that was my life.
Makes total sense. I understand that. That's part of the hook. You can do these things that you want to do, but you have to do some of these other classes. And it's interesting. You mentioned you would have majored in theater, and we've had many guest speakers who have shared. It's usually the way they found out exactly what they want to do is by experiencing certain things and going, that's not the job that I want. Mm-hmm. And if you did go the college route, you would have done theater, and who knows if you would have been exposed to voiceover, because obviously you can do voiceover without a degree. And you kind of found, so you heard, and it just came to you one day, these voices on the cartoons, the voices in the advertisements. What did you do to explore to then go, I want to do that job? What were your next steps?
Google. Google, it's your best friend. Google the YouTube videos. It's amazing how many free resources are out there. Again, Google will be your best friend. I found Crispin Freeman's podcast. There was a simple D. Bradley Baker's website, iwannabeavoiceactor.com. So many opportunities. And one of my friends who I didn't know in the spoken word scene, we do like open mics and stuff together. She's actually a voiceover artist. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. What should I do? And she helped me get started of like, here's where you should get your equipment. And here is, some classes you should take. And I was like, perfect. And I kind of just made my way. So I'm grateful to her for helping me out with that.
Okay. So we could call her a mentor, so to speak. Like,
yes.
It's very important to have those people who can lead us down the right road,
Yes.
Be a catalyst and lift you up in the right direction. Sometimes there's many different roads you can take. Some lead the same way, some lead in different directions. Mm-hmm. So she kind of pointed you in the right direction as far as equipment goes and classes. Mm-hmm. Talk me through the process of classes, how many classes you took. Give me all that.
At the end of the day, voice acting is acting. So I really put my eggs in the foundation of my voice acting. So improv, scene study, did a couple of like stage combat classes here locally, which, by the way, check out your local performing arts center. You never know what kind of classes they might have. It's amazing. But just that's what I really dove into, because at the end of the day, you're acting in your booth. It's just you're not being filmed. You're just being recorded, via microphone. But the foundation is still the same. All of those essential tools you will need. So that's where I put most of my eggs. And then I would scatter around to, like Real Voice LA or like these other places that had specifically like voiceover catered classes, just to kind of make that transition of like, okay, you can't move as much as you can if you were on stage because you're going to hit your microphone. But just, different things like that. Learning how to sing on mic technique, learning how to work your interface, first of all. YouTube can only teach you so much. But yeah, just those were the big classes for me.
Talk me through Real Voices LA, because
Real Voice LA, yes, Real Voice LA, wonderful resource for classes. They have guest directors, voice actors who've been in the biz a while. They have like these wonderful workshops. You're in for like 3 hours. You go through copy, you get feedback, and you apply the tools and things like that. It's also a great way to network with other voice actors in the industry. And at this stage in the industry, there are so many other platforms that have online workshops now, which is fantastic, and it's beautiful.
Okay. I love it. So Real Voice LA classes, equipment wise, what did you do in regards to equipment?
So I recommend American Musical Supply and Sweetwater. So both of those are wonderful, wonderful platforms, businesses that have a lot of equipment, not just around voiceover. So if you're like a musician or anything like that, they have all of that. The great thing about them, I'm a mother. So, finances aren't always available every time. Both of those platforms allow you to make payment plans versus having to buy the equipment, outright, which is very useful and helpful, especially if you're in the college scene. We don't get paid to go to school. So it works out and it's beautiful. And they even have like little starter bundles. So you don't have to necessarily like, okay, I'm going to buy my microphone and I'm going to buy an interface. They have nice little starter bundles that comes with like the pop filter and the microphone and the interface and everything just all together for a very affordable price. So it's a great place to start, because it's important to remember it doesn't matter how much your equipment costs if you don't know how to use it and if your space isn't treated correctly. So at the end of the day, you can start off with a little $200 or $100 mic and it is okay.
Okay. And it's great advice, right? Obviously, you don't want to get the best equipment right out the gate. You want to invest in it. You want to work on your craft. Obviously, someone like you has put in a lot of time. And like you mentioned, there are free websites out there. It can only get you so far, but there are YouTube videos for your interface. There are YouTube videos on how to set up the mic and get all that going. One of the things that you said that really resonated with me was voiceover, in the end of the day, is still acting. Mm-hmm. Acting is acting. And those who have spoken to us in the voiceover world have said the same thing. That you have to say it different ways and you're going to be coached just like you would if you were on the stage. Yep. Obviously on the stage, and you mentioned this, you use lots of body language and your hands are all over the place. When you're acting in a movie or a commercial, you downplay it and it's capturing the less body movement and more of the face. But when it comes to the voice, it's everything minus your body and you got to be super animated in there to get what you need. And I have no doubt you get all animated when you're doing.
I try.
I get it.
It's super important too, because it's not even just, about getting animated, because it's like for like commercials and stuff. The one thing that you'll always hear is like, we want you to sound like a real person. Yes, of course, you're going to talk to your best friend and tell them, go shop now and buy one, get one half off. Yeah, I'm totally going to say that to my friend, right? So when it comes down to spots like that and having to sound like a real person, it's just about moving how you would in the world. Are you a person who talks with your hands? Are you somebody who is animated when they're talking to their friend? What is it that you do? So it's knowing who you are as a person and how you express yourself with different emotions. And at the same time, not restricting yourself just because there's no camera to capture your facial expressions or, and everything like that. So if you are somebody who's very animated when you talk, utilize that, because that's going to be your most natural self. And that is what's going to make you sound like a quote unquote real person, even though we're all real people.
It's funny because you always hear them say, you need to find your real voice,
Mm-hmm.
well, isn't this my voice?
Am I
Right.
not using it? I'm sorry.
Right, right. So I get that, but it's like being authentic and not changing it up and inflection and characters.
Hmm.
But they always go, yeah, use your real voice, but we want you to sound like. And then they give you somebody to kind of go for. I want to ask you, how did you land your first job?
Oh my gosh. Pay to play. Pay to play. Well, that was my first official job. My first job, this is always a great story I love to tell, was one of my friends. He was working on this. It was this older woman. She was retired and she had a business on the side where she would just dog sit people's animals, and she had a little Facebook page. And my friend who works in production, he was putting together her Facebook video for like, hey, you could get these services. And he was like, hey, could you do the voiceover for it? And I was like, of course I can, that's totally fine. So I got paid a couple $100 to voice her video advertising her puppy services, and that was that.
Okay. So that's the first job. And again, it comes from saying yes.
Yes.
We always have guests who tell us in the entertainment sector, you always say yes to opportunities, paid, not paid, because it leads you to a networking opportunity. It's a networking opportunity, but you never know what work is going to come from it. So in this case, they ask you, will you do the voiceover? You say, of course, no problem. Love to. Get a few $100 and you knock it out.
It's
Do
that.
and you add that obviously to the resume, to the website.
Oh
What comes?
yeah, it's something you can share. It's something you can be like, "Hey guys, I do this now. Hi, I do voiceover. Check this out. This is what I sound like. It's great." Just because in the meantime, like, yes, there's a point in your career where having a demo is important, but it's not something that you need straight out the gate. Just record a couple of samples at home and pop them up so people can know what you sound like. That's at the end. That's what's important. What do you sound like? Like, it's great. Usually actors, they're like, they have to have these fancy headshots and, hey, what do you look like this and things like that. But they need to know what you sound like as a voice actor. And so a demo, sure, it's important later, but it's not the end all be all. So just record a couple samples. Just make sure somebody can hear your voice somewhere.
Okay. So at this point, you don't have a demo. I mean, I know now you do, but when you did that first voiceover at that time, you did not have a demo.
Did not have
So
a demo.
you add it to the resume. What's the next gig that comes?
Next gig, oh my gosh, what was the next gig? Some e-learnings and some explainer videos. So very, very shocker. This is also very important to know. In the voiceover industry, I tell everybody that you should try everything. Because you never know what you're going to like. You're not going to know what you don't like, or you're going to find out what you don't like doing and what you're going to avoid. You're going to find out what you're good at, and you're going to find out what your niche is, right? I was 100% sure that I was going to end up strictly in the commercial realm because I was like, yes, that's, it's great. Maybe I'll dabble in animation and video games or whatever it is. E-learning and explainer videos, narration, is my niche. It's my bag. Just because, again, finding out about yourself, my voice has a natural brightness to it, like a natural energy to it. And so that goes really well with having to do boring explainers or boring, e-learnings, because it's engaging. I'm keeping them engaged even though I'm explaining what your work benefits are with your new job, right? So it's important to try everything and explore the different genres of the industry because you never know. So I was consistently booking explainers, e-learnings. I even tried doing audiobooks. I don't like doing audiobooks. I don't like doing full-length novel, not audiobooks. I will do children's audiobooks, though, because I'm really good at those, and I am a sprinter, not a marathon runner. So.
Okay. So you knew right from, and again, great advice. Try everything, see what you enjoy, and then you mention a niche, like what is it that you specialize in? So my daughter is doing a lot of e-learning, like pre-kindergarten stuff. And other than the visuals, the happy-go-lucky
Yeah.
voice telling her to go to the next section and try the next module, right, keeps her engaged. So I
Yep.
can totally agree with you. Having that type of voice is very important and high energy, because it's very easy to go, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yep.
So you do the e-learning, you obviously add those to the resume, and now as we're thinking down the line for a demo, you now have the Facebook one, you have some e-learning. Do you add those to a demo, and when you got these gigs, where did you find the opportunity to audition for them? At this point, I imagine you might have an agent, but at where you are here at this time.
Oh, here, yes. Currently, yes, I do have
Yeah.
agents. Yes, yes. In this point in my career, yes.
But at that time,
Nope.
you're just kind of doing it on your own, and you're booking your
Figuring it
own,
out.
and you're figuring it out.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
wanna hear what comes next, and I want to hear, just as that career roadmap, when you go, all right, now it's time for the agent. Now it's time for the demo.
So it was more of me just getting more jobs under my belt. At this point, I was getting my gigs from pay to plays, and I had just started getting into my direct marketing side of things. And like making connections and everything. So direct marketing, and now I'm a pro at it. But back then it was just like, okay, I should just reach out to people because nobody's going to find me if I'm just sitting here. So created a website, put up some samples that I've done, like, the little commercial I did, a couple of samples. In one thing you should get used to is that you will not always be able to get final copies of your work. I've done so many gigs, and I still only have a limited access to, a few of them at this point. It's crazy. So in that case, what I did is I just recorded a couple of raw samples and popped them up on my website. Like, hey, here's me doing a comedic commercial. Hey, here's me doing an e-learning or an explainer, so you can hear what I sound like in different tones and different genres, and see if I'm a good fit for you. So then, that's it. When I really started thinking about getting a demo was when I felt like I had enough experience and I was confident enough to start working to put together a demo. So demos ideally you should work with a coach or work with a demo producer so that they can write scripts tailored to you or personalized to you and your style and what you're good at, what you want to do. And then, you record those and they mix them and do all the things and you have a nice little demo, right? For myself, it was when I felt comfortable enough, because a demo should showcase what you're able to do. But also keep in mind, your first demo is not going to be your last demo. It's just, you're going to update that every few years because you're going to learn new things. You're going to learn new tricks and new things you can do. And you want to update that and you want to showcase that. So you're going to get a new demo in about 4 or 5 years anyway. So that's, you need to be confident in your ability to showcase your skills. And I think that's the most important factor to determining whether you're ready for a demo. And of course, the education behind it. You can't just be like, okay, I'm ready. You should have a coach. You should coach with somebody consistently, or at least, take workshops or classes. And that coach, I prefer coaches when working on demos because you're working with the same person consistently. But they can tell you like, oh, great, you sound great when you're doing this. Let's go ahead and write one of your spots dedicated to this genre or whatever it is. And then they can, if they'll ask you, are you ready to record? Yes, I am. Well, I also think you're ready to record. So let's go ahead and get you a demo on the books. So that's important too. So you need to be confident in your ability, and you actually need to put in the work to enhance your abilities as well.
I love it. Let's talk about putting in the work. How many hours would you say you put in before you recorded your demo?
Oh my. Oh my. I've never thought about putting a number to that. It was a lot. I was coaching with, okay, let me see. For my commercial demo, I was coaching with somebody, and for that demo specifically, I'd probably say I put in maybe 12 to 15 hours. And that was an hour of coaching. We would meet every week or every other week. And then actually recording the demo. And yeah, I would probably say about that.
Okay. So you have your demo. At what point does the demo lead you to the agent? Talk me through getting an agent.
Agent. Okay. So agent wise, I started locally. It's always a good idea to start locally. I always tell everybody you should conquer your local market because you never know what you're going to find in your area. So my first agent was here locally in Colorado. Had a Colorado agent, started getting auditions for, local areas. Just sent them my demo, was like, hey, here we go. At the time, I had a commercial demo and a character demo for both. But ideally, if you're going to submit to agencies, always have a commercial demo because that's at the end, that's what pays the bills for agents. So that's what you're going to want to have and showcase because they're going to be looking for a lot of commercial talent.
Okay.
And so just sent it locally. Googled agencies in my area and sent it to them.
Okay. So talk me through, are you allowed to have multiple agents for different, do you have an e-learning agent? Do you have a commercial agent? Do you have a animation agent? Or do you have an agent that encompasses all of the above?
Great question. So when you are on the search for an agent, one of the important things to keep in mind is that you are also interviewing these agencies, and the important questions you always need to ask are they exclusive? What genres do they get auditions for? And what is their commission? So I have multiple agents. I'm repped locally in Colorado, and they are exclusive here in Colorado, but I can have agents anywhere else. I have a LA agent, which covers, they do all genres in the voiceover world. And they're not exclusive, but they hold priority for the LA markets. And then I have a New York agent who is exclusive in the tri-state area, but I can have agents elsewhere. And so that's why it's important to know if they are exclusive and everything like that. And if they get auditions in the work that you eventually want to do, because not every agency gets every audition. So I get auditions from my Colorado agent I don't get from LA or New York, and vice versa. It's just a matter of what I actually want work in, and which is why it's important to also interview potential agencies.
There's something that you mentioned that I think is fantastic. You didn't put all your eggs in one basket.
Oh, no.
It's not just whatever that one agent's doing. I imagine the other agents are on notice that you've got other agents in other states, and that makes them work a little bit harder because if you're realizing that you're getting work booked with just one of them, you might go that direction. I love that. So talk me through what is one voiceover that you are just like, oh my God, I'm so proud I knocked this one out.
That one is still under NDA, so I can't say anything yet.
Okay. But there's obviously something extremely exciting that you can share.
It's exciting. But, who knows when that'll come to light. I'm still waiting. But I would say that, oh my gosh. Okay, commercial-wise, I don't know if you've seen it. It's actually just really recent. I did a spot for Hershey's, which was really cool and really fun. And it was really cute. Their new Milklicious, Hershey's Milklicious commercial going around. And it's really cute because I love puns, and it's a very punny commercial. And then outside of that, I got to do scratch work for Disney and Marvel, which was pretty cool. And so I'd say that's probably my own personal I did that kind of thing.
I love the I did that type of things. Like those are the ones that are just, you always go, if I could just do, or if I could land this one gig. I think Disney and Marvel obviously are top dogs
Dog. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So
Is
I'll
there,
take the scratch work. I'll take the
yeah,
scratch work. I'm okay with
hey,
that.
scratch work works. Can you explain to our listeners what scratch work, what that looks like?
Of course. So scratch work in the animation world, you have like anime where you dub over, another language, or you translate it to another language and you dub in the new language. For prelay animation, what it is that they usually do the acting first, and then they draw and animate those characters in the show after they do the voiceover. So scratch work is usually they'll hire a voice actor to kind of like hold the spot for the eventual chosen voice actor. So if it was like, let me try and think, like if I were to do like Scooby-Doo, if they were making a new show for Scooby-Doo and I go in and I just record the lines for Scooby-Doo, even though I'm not going to be the actual actor, just so that they can go ahead and start working on the animation and they can start animating it. And then they'll eventually bring in the actual voice actor for Scooby-Doo and act and then record their lines for it.
Love it.
So
What's your take on the fact that a lot of these big blockbuster animated movies take A-list actors now to voice over? It's almost like you need the voice of the actor to sell the picture. Does that obviously take away work? I mean, I'm talking about like the Brad Pitts, the Eddie Murphys, really large A-list.
I could rant about it forever. I really could. But I do think there are A-list actors that are great voice actors. I just don't think it's really that important a name sells a movie, because I have children and I will go see kids movies, because I want to see them, not because so-and-so or this A-list celebrity is voicing a character. Like, good for you, but the story seems great. That's why I'm going to watch it. And my kids won't know Eddie Murphy from Brad Pitt. They're not going to be like, okay, great. Like, yeah, Mom, Eddie Murphy, let's go see it. Or Brad Pitt, let's go see it. They don't know. All they know is it's a movie with characters that looks like they want to see, right? That's why I don't think it's that important that celebrities be in these movies. It's also, you don't want to say it. You're right. You don't really want to say it. But not all actors make good voice actors, because there is a transition that you have to think about. There is no camera, and you can really find out which actors rely on the camera for their acting abilities, or to portray, or put emotion out there. It's like, oh, we can tell you're obviously sad because we see the tears on the screen. Now can you translate that to just being behind a microphone? So there is a specific skill that goes into doing just voiceover that I don't think every actor has, and that can take away from the quality of a movie celebrity wise. So those are my general thoughts on it.
And no, it's totally true. I didn't think about it that way. Obviously, kids don't realize what actor, if it's Will Ferrell, voicing over the character, that's not drawing them. It's the animation and the movie itself. Mm-hmm. Obviously, studios are looking for a slam dunk to make sure that they're getting, and as you were talking, it made me think maybe the Will Smith and those other, A-list voiceover artists are to bring in the parents. In your case, you're saying, I just want to see a good kids movie, but there's got to be a reason why the studios are paying an exorbitant amount of money to have those individuals be the voices. Yep. I want to go ahead. I
Oh,
didn't
I
want
was
to
going
cut
to
you
say
off.
it kind of sucks too because at the end of the day, voiceover, unfortunately, if you're just a voice artist, you won't make as much as the A-list celebrities that happen to do voiceover. So a big portion of voiceover is that you have to actually enjoy doing it
Yeah.
because it's going to happen. You're going to see like, oh, wow, I auditioned for that. Oh, they cast this celebrity. Okay, so I'll never know if I would have got it or not. Oh, well.
Got it. And and that's something too I want to talk about. Um, I imagine in a perfect world, you book, many of the auditions that you're going on, but I know how competitive it is, and it's not like you just land every single job.
Oh,
How do
no.
you deal with constructive criticism, and how do you deal with rejection?
Whew. Okay. So, a big saying in the voiceover world is send and forget. And let me tell you, it is the one thing you should latch onto because this industry, it moves really fast. And if it's not a lot of rejection, it's a lot of silence. A lot of silence. And so I think it's super important, again, one, to know yourself more than anybody. You have to know yourself in this industry and to not take anything personally. Being completely transparent, a good booking ratio of a successful voice actor is only like 3 to 5% of what they audition for. That's really good. If I've heard a colleague once that said, wow, I booked 10% this year of the jobs I auditioned for. That's almost unheard of, right? So you have to be okay with rejection or you have to be okay with silence because we'll call them dry periods, but it really is it really is a competitive industry. And just knowing and being comfortable with yourself that you put your best foot forward and you did the best that you could for the things that you can control is what you need to be okay with and be satisfied with. You will hardly ever get any feedback unless it's from like your agents if they have time. But you have to consider that these casting directors, they're listening to hundreds of auditions. They don't have time to give feedback for every single one, right? So just be okay with you're auditioning for the void, pretty much. You're sending things off into the void and there's no guarantee that you're going to hear anything back. So you need to be very comfortable and confident with yourself.
Okay, so the self-awareness, and one other part of that question, taking direction and criticism. And obviously it's positive criticism because once you do land the gig, the director is going to want it a certain way. I've watched a voiceover session and couldn't believe how many times the director had the voiceover artist read the script and change the script and change the inflection over here, say this word faster, say that one slower.
Gosh.
Talk me through on the direction and constructive criticism.
Yeah. So one of the things that's important to remember is that when you're auditioning, you're not just auditioning for the role, you're auditioning for the room. So you're auditioning to book the room. Only one person may be able to get a role, but that doesn't mean that there aren't a plethora of other roles that person could consider you for. Like, oh, they may not be right for this role, but I'm going to keep them in mind for this one or my next project. So remember that. I just had a session yesterday where they changed the script mid-session because it was too long for the 30-second spot that we were recording for. And so it's important more than anything. Like, yes, you can have the foundation for acting and you can have the improv and take all the important classes, have a great demo and things like that. The most important thing in this industry when it comes to voice acting is being directable. And just be nice. Be a nice person. If people want to like working with you. But it's important to be able to take direction because you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste your client's time. And you want to be able to apply what's being told to you because they obviously hired you for a reason. But there are a whole lot of nuances and a whole bunch of things that we don't think about that, as the voice talent, we don't have to. They have copywriters, and they have legal things they have to abide by that they can say and not say. We don't know about that. It's whatever it is. We're just here to say words. So being able to take the vision of the client and applying it the way they want is what is going to make that client want to work with you again. They're going to be like, oh, this person, like they didn't have what we were exactly looking for, but we told them to do this and they did it. And that's perfect. That's exactly what we needed. And we got exactly what we wanted out of them. It sounds exactly how I imagined it. Because when you're directable, you're easy to work with. And a big part of this industry, especially if you want to do it full time as a career, what's going to pay the bills are the consistent clients, are the repeat clients. And you only get those by being directable, easy to work with, and just a generally nice person. So it's super important. And that's why it's also important to take classes or get a coach, because you can work on that aspect. If you are in this workshop or you're in a coaching session and your coach tells you, okay, great read, now let's try reading it like this, change this or emphasize this. If they are directing you, you're learning how to be directable and how to apply that in real time. And being able to switch, because I cannot tell you how many times, I can count on one hand how many sessions I've had where we didn't have to change a script during the session. So you have to be ready for anything. That's why improv is important, because anything could be thrown at you left field and you do not want to panic. Like, oh my gosh, what do I do? What do I do? Oh my gosh, what do I say? How do I say this? What do you mean? What do you mean we're taking out 3 sentences? What do you mean we're adding 3 sentences? Oh my gosh, right? So it's just important to be flexible.
Okay. I love it. Adaptability, being flexible. You're absolutely, I think, right on. You mentioned getting repeat customers or repeat brands, or working with producers or directors or companies. And you mentioned being a good person, being directable. Those are all important qualities that are going to get you that job again. So I love how you pointed that out. Was there ever a gig that you got? You mentioned, sometimes you go and you read for a part, and that casting person might not see you for the job you're reading for, but might have something else that they're working on, or know something where they're like, oh my God, your voice would be perfect for this other opportunity. Can you talk us through a time where that happened to you?
Yes. So I actually, it still happens to this day, which is a wonderful thing, and I appreciate everybody. In the commercial realm, the commercial auditions, you'll see way more of those, and they move a lot quicker than like animation or video game auditions. And so I remember the first time with this specific casting director, I got shortlisted. And got a call back. So I didn't book the job, but a couple of weeks later, they requested me to audition for something specific because they thought that I would be perfect for it, and I booked it. And then, so now I do have some casting directors that I still haven't booked with yet, which is amazing, but they specifically request me to audition for some things because they think it'll be a good fit. And I think that is an amazing relationship to have, even if not booking, because again, it is really competitive. But for me to be considered or be at the top of mind of somebody for an audition is an amazing thing. I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right. Because again, you can only control what you have power over. And that's me sending in a good audition, recording and just making sure that I'm on my P's and Q's, right? I can't make the client choose me, but I can be good enough that this casting director can send an audition my way or request that I audition for the project. So if I make sure I'm on top of everything, the casting director can rely on me I built a good relationship with that. They know I'm going to turn in a good audition. If they request I read for something, and then they can send it on to the client. Whether the client chooses me or not is not on me or the casting director. But that's a great relationship to have and a great opportunity. And yeah, so whenever they're like, hey, so-and-so's requested you for this audition, I'm like, I love it. Thanks. All right, I'll do my best.
I love that. So you got Colorado, you got LA, you got New York. So you must be getting a lot of opportunities. With every opportunity, and with regular acting, you got to go in there and you got to show your face and you got to read the lines. With voiceover, you have to do the recording on your own and submit it. And I imagine you can do all your own editing, the interface and recording and sending out the proper files. How do you find the balance in time with family, being a mom, and then being able to find the time to do all of your recordings and getting those out by deadlines?
So I have a wonderful support system, which I think with any career is super important. Is just having a great support system, whether it be a partner. My husband is wonderful. Whether it be family, my parents, in-laws are great. So I think it comes down to your support system at the end of the day. My husband watches the kids. I'm like, hey, I have a session today. You know, if you guys if you want to go do something, or just be quiet in the house, that's okay. That's fine too. Whatever it is. Or if he's working, be like, hey, Mom, are you available to watch kids while I do this? Great. Awesome. Great. So a support system is I think is key. And again, not just with voiceover, just any career in your life. For myself, I'm also somebody who just dabbles in the basics. I am not an engineer. I do not get paid to be an engineer. I do not want to be an engineer. The learning curve for me with tech is a little steep, and so I try to avoid that as much as possible. But I know enough that I'm successful with it. So with my auditions, when I started off, I was the kind of person that would spend an hour per audition, and I had to cut. That was a habit I had to cut because you don't get paid to audition. Right? You don't get paid to audition. So I had to impose rules on myself of okay, you can only record 3 takes max, and you can only edit out any annoying breaths or any loud noises. That's really much it, right? So I leave in my natural breaths. It turns out casting directors don't care because they know you have to breathe. So if you just leave in your natural breathing, that's totally fine. If you're at the end of a sentence, you go ahead and cut that out, okay? They don't need to hear that. But if it's just you regularly breathing, it's fine. Leave it in. I don't cut those out anymore. So that's time that I don't have to take to edit those out now. Basic MP3 presetting my stuff. My gain, on my interface, I have little sticky notes that I have marked for, okay, if you're yelling, this is where you need to have your gain. If you are regular, this is where you need to have it. If you're whispering, this is where you need to have it. So that if I'm in a session, or even if I'm auditioning and I'm like, okay, looking at the script, oh, they yell halfway in this, I can just turn it real quick to that without having to mess up anything or peek or whatever it is. So I don't have to do less editing in post. So it's just little tricks like that of making it as easy for yourself as possible. Because again, you're not getting paid to audition. And unfortunately, auditioning is the job.
Yeah, no, makes total sense. Is there a mantra that you say or you catch yourself saying daily that keeps you in a positive mindset?
Send and forget.
I love that one, right? Send and forget, especially for voiceover. It's perfect. It's kind of very similar to don't call us, we'll call you.
Exactly. No news is good news.
Yeah. I got it. I love it. Okay, and then I have one more question that I'm going to open it up to the floor for anyone who wants to ask questions. What's the biggest piece of advice you would give your younger self with all that you've experienced in the voiceover world?
It's not that big a deal. I think that if I could just tell myself to not stress over things, It doesn't matter if you know, like, you are going to be your own worst critic. For anything, especially in the creative arts. And if I could tell myself to go easy on myself, give myself grace, it's not that big a deal. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. Like, girl, you did not need to do 16 takes for this audition. It is okay with just the 2. Like, you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to spend an hour editing out every single breath that you took, because, hey, guess what? You're a real person. You're a human. You breathe. That's crazy. It's not that big a deal. So, and, you know, my first session, I just remember, like, every time I would mess up, I'd say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We're human. They are expecting that. That's exactly why they have a session, and they have people like, all right, great, just take it from the top. It's okay. So if I could just be like, it's okay, it's no big deal, stop stressing over it. That would be my biggest.
Yeah, no, it's you got to let certain things go.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I lied. I have one more question, then I'm going to come to Josh. Talk me through creating voices of color.
So voices of color, I'm a Black woman. So coming out into the industry, there wasn't really a community space for people of color. And so that's where, you know, came up with the idea for that, and just offering affordable resources for people wanting to get into the industry. You know, unfortunately, the industry still isn't as diverse as we would hope and like for it to be. But we're definitely making progress, and we're getting there, which is really cool. So we just wanted to create a safe space and an accessible space, not only for talent, but for production as well. We have a whole database of voice actors of color if they need authentic casting or diverse casting. So that's what we're here for.
I absolutely love that. You know, I always think, like, with acting, you know, a lot of these shows have individuals with disabilities, and they always have these actors just try to pretend they have a disability, and there's amazing actors with disabilities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I love the authentic aspect of what you're bringing to the table there. So kudos there. I just want to thank you again for joining us. You are an absolute pleasure, super informative. We want to continue to follow your career. If individuals want to follow you on Instagram or social media, where should they go?
I'm Jazzy Frizzle VO. I'm pretty much everywhere.
There it is. There it is. Well, Jazzy, I want to thank you again. Continued success in your career. Thank you. And if there are others that you think we should be speaking with, please send them our way. Ooh, wow. And we'll network that way, and we'll pass the love. On that note, yes, Thank you are amazing. Have a great rest of your evening.
You too, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
You.
As we conclude another enriching episode, we hope you found inspiration in the stories shared today. Let's take a moment to honor Yes I Can's role in bringing Breaking the Biz to life. Yes I Can's commitment to empowering young people with disabilities through education, advocacy, and mentorship shines brightly, paving paths of opportunity and dialogue. This podcast celebrates the organization's dedication to nurturing talent and facilitating impactful discussions. Breaking the Biz is more than a podcast. It's a part of Yes I Can's broader mission to amplify voices, dismantle barriers, and craft a world that's more inclusive and accessible for everyone. Each episode is a chapter in our shared narrative of progress, education, and empowerment, driven by the spirit of Yes I Can. Thank you for spending your time with us on Breaking the Biz. Continue to challenge the status quo and share stories that resonate. Until our paths cross again, let's keep transforming aspirations into achievements and infuse every endeavor with optimism. Here's to advancing the landscape of the entertainment industry, one episode at a time. I'm your host, William Felber. See you next time.